That's
gum.
So stupid. Little dinger thing or something. Click all those things. I'm not even going to think about this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Transformation Church Weekly Follow-Up Podcast. I am your host, Justin Oswald. You are the co-host.
I am the co-host,
Brad Livingston.
And we have the third host, heard but never seen.
Heard not seen.
John.
Yo.
William Sapp.
I am.
It is William, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it John nothing or anything?
No, it's
Johnny.
Everyone asks me that all the time.
It's just John.
It's just John. Yeah.
It's just John. It's just Justin.
It's just Justin.
No, it's not just Justin.
You're right.
It is not.
Do you remember all the nicknames we had for you when we were younger?
I know the nicknames we have for you while we're older.
For me? Yeah, ain't no nicknames for me.
What nicknames you guys have for Justin?
J.O. the CEO.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh.
That was from high school.
Whitey.
Little Whitey Tidy.
Little Whitey Tidy.
I don't even know if I want to go down that path.
We have quite a few.
Little Whitey Tidy.
I don't know where that came from. That was never his name that stuck.
I don't know.
No one called me that.
I think it was from
at the church. I
think it was from a summer camp one year, and then it just kind of stuck for probably 3 months, and then it faded away.
Dissipated.
J.O. has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And
J.O.
And then So you're the nickname guy. You're the one that's got several nicknames.
Yeah. According to everyone around
Sappleseed,
around the circle.
Sap Master.
Little Sap Master.
Johnny Half Stack.
Half Stack.
Johnny Half Shoulder.
Rabdo. I don't know if that we called you.
I mean, I don't think anybody actually called
Johnny
me.
Rabdo.
Just something that happened.
What else? Johnny Boy.
Man.
I like Half Stack. Half Stack.
That was Kyle. That was Kyle's doing.
That was Kyle's doing.
Half Stack?
Yeah. That was when we were at Panama City at staff retreat.
Was he there?
Yeah,
Kyle?
Remember Kyle came out. We all went to breakfast at that pancake joint.
Yeah.
And John got a half stack.
I remember that.
And Kyle was like Johnny Half Stack. And I was
did.
like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Speaking of, when I was in Destin last time, I went to that pancake place again. That's a straight up problem. It's so good. But I like sweet breakfast. You're not a big sweet breakfast person.
On occasion, I do like pancakes, but I don't usually go too hard. I don't go too hard with syrup.
The syrup.
I go light on the syrup.
They had
Tim Williams is trying to coin a nickname for me as well, which it's not working at all.
Well, tell me what it is. I can help.
That's okay.
I'm texting him. I'm going to text him right now.
Don't. No.
Ooh.
I shouldn't have said it.
Yep.
You shouldn't have said that.
Dang, I didn't.
You knew I was going to text him.
I didn't realize you were that consistent with his conversations with him. So,
bro, me and Tim talk all the time.
No.
Yep, you're done.
Look where I've gotten myself into.
You're done.
Bro, what's the nickname you're trying to give John Sapp?
While that's happening, what else is going on?
Man, you're at a wedding this weekend. Knoxville, Tennessee.
Nate's wedding.
Nate Popejoy.
All this traveling.
Speaking of,
No.
did he put in a request for these days off for his honeymoon?
He just said, I'm out.
Yeah. We need to call the Navy. Ship him back.
Yeah.
Like, hey, brother.
Nate got married. Got married
Sunday.
Sunday.
My whole days are off because normally weddings are on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So the whole thing felt weird.
Yeah.
I thought Saturday was Friday, and I thought Sunday was Saturday, and I thought yesterday was Sunday.
What a day.
Yeah. So yesterday was in a car all day, the back seat of a car.
With quite the entourage.
Yes, it was.
You, Juwan, Eli,
production Chris,
and PC. Yeah.
Yep. It was a good time. We had a good trip. And then there was some other people from the church that were at the wedding.
Yeah.
Y'all know Nate. He's been on here for a time or two. One of our staff and ministry assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Working with college and students. Yeah, he's had a wedding. It was a good wedding. It was in Knoxville, so we were up there. It was a good time. But I was ready to be home.
Yeah. I told the pipeline last night, I was like, yeah, I feel like half our team was in Knoxville this past weekend. I was like, listen, from now on, we're either hiring interns that are already married or single and not getting married. We're not.
Yeah.
It's a joke, by the way.
It was fun. It was
opportunity.
Coming home is never as exciting as going there. It seemed like it took twice as long to get home.
That's exactly what Eli said.
It really felt that way. We did make one more stop, but still.
It's like a 7-hour drive, though, right?
8.
Eek.
All that to say, though, like, everyone's kind of over it. So, like, on your
the
right
anticipation
back,
getting there. Everyone's laughing and joking.
Having a good time,
On the way back, you're like, I just want to be home.
Yeah.
Seriously. And Knoxville didn't have many options for flights out of Pensacola. So it was kind of like, you didn't really have much of a choice. If, like, Nashville's got a Southwest direct flight, that would have been easy. I'll pay for the convenience. I'll pay a little more, usually.
Especially like Knoxville. That's like an hour and 20-minute flight.
Probably not even that.
Yeah.
Maybe that. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it worth it if you got layovers, and before you know it,
you got to go to Charlotte.
You got to be 2 hours early to the thing, and before you know it, you've ate up 8 hours, and you could have drove. But
that's about that Charleston situation.
Yeah, but that little if they had a little direct flight, that'd have been nice. But it was a good time. Knoxville's my first time there. That was pretty cool little city. It's not little really. Any college town can be kind of fun. There's a lot to do, so it was cool. There was some good. Actually, we didn't eat really good food. I mean, I was hoping to try to eat some good, like, food you don't like
local stuff.
Some local stuff, but we really didn't get that opportunity. To be honest with you,
what's Knoxville known for?
I don't know if they're known for anything food wise.
I feel like the closest would be like Memphis, like
other side of the state.
That's notoriety. Closest city that's known for something food wise would be Memphis. Is what I mean. Like
Memphis.
I mean, I don't know how close Memphis is on the other side of the state, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I was just you can always find like good local food no matter what. You know. But we really didn't get to do that. Just be honest with how the timing of everything was, but it was fun. Nate and Leah she serves in our preschool.
TC kids, preschool.
It was a good wedding. They had a good wedding. Ceremony was good. Reception was good. Everybody had it was fun. It was a good time. I was glad to be home. I have a lot to do this week.
Got a few things going on.
Yeah. So, and then, I got home. I got home yesterday, went straight to a board meeting.
Oh, yeah. You had a meeting last night.
So I went straight to that.
PYP.
And that was actually, I went home. I had enough time to run home and change my shirt. And then to the board meeting until about 7. Got home about 7:30 after being on the road all day. So I went, unpacked, kind of got in bed. And then got up early this morning. We had a little thing at 7:30 this morning. So,
well, there you go.
But I'm here, and got a lot to do. So,
there you have it.
There you have it, folks.
That's a fun.
It's a blast, isn't it?
Fun stuff.
Party on.
Tim says, Big John. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it's.
Does it have the pitch thing too?
It
John.
It does have the weird pitch thing too.
Big John.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, it's not sticking. He's like, I'm gonna make it stick. I'm like, it's not sticking, dude. Like, I've had several different.
I don't know. Tim can really mobilize some people though. So
he hasn't yet. I don't think so.
Keep it up, Tim.
Tim, I'm gonna help you carry this out, bro.
Keep it up,
so
Tim.
I'm gonna make this a real thing.
So how was Sunday around TC, around these parts?
Sunday was good, man. I mean, it was a good day, wrapping up spring break. So there's a lot of people traveling both to the wedding and just otherwise, people finishing up their last weekend of spring break. So all in all, I mean, the crowds were decent. Energy was decent. So like it was a pretty good day. It's one of those things where it's like you could tell a lot of your regular people that are like around were gone. But to the average person that calls TC home, it probably just felt like a normal day to them. Like,
surely it did.
Which a normal day for TC is still like a giant party. But
what is normal?
What is normal, really though? So it was good, man. We sermon the next episode for Sushi, Sex, and Subtitles, round 3.
Did y'all have the little instrumental action going on?
We did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Played the next episode for the announcements. La di da di da.
It's a good song.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I liked that one. That one really did a lot in service.
Yeah.
I hear something weird. Do y'all hear it?
Sounds like an air conditioner. So,
maybe it's just in my headphones. It sounded weird. Okay, sorry.
Yep. So,
yeah. No, well, so, Saturday there was a lot going on. Like there was the rehearsal dinner. Like I wasn't a part of that, but like with all the people for the wedding afterwards, just like we all just like met up and we're hanging out, So we got to bed really late Saturday night. So Sunday morning, I saw your mom and dad, and I don't know where we were. We ran into them. We ran into them out front of the hotel. They were staying at the same hotel. Pastor Dan officiated the wedding, and your mom says, Miss Kathy says, "Man, we watched service." We watched the service on the live stream this morning. It was really good. I said, Miss Kathy, I ain't gonna lie to you. We got in late, so we slept in. I'm about to catch it on the way home later. Let me tell you, we stayed in quite the hotel. I didn't know your dad was there.
Oh, yeah.
He had asked me a few weeks ago what hotel we were staying at, and I told him. And it never clicked with me because he called me Friday. He called me Friday and said, hey, what time are y'all going to be in town? And I said, we'll be in the afternoon. Well, we were leaving Saturday, so I thought he meant in town tomorrow. So we'll be in sometime in the afternoon. He said, so you'll be here any minute now, because it was the afternoon when he called, Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no, we're leaving in the morning. He's like, oh, I thought y'all were coming today. He said, we're already here. We're staying in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, they say, yeah.
I thought they were staying in Pigeon Forge the whole time. And we're just gonna drive the hour or whatever to Knoxville for the things. The sales was in my head. Well, we're there Saturday. We're getting in an Uber to go down to meet Nate and all that. They're staying downtown in a real nice place. And we're standing out front, and I hear someone say, y'all waiting for an Uber? Turn around, and it was Pastor Dan. And it was like, what are you doing here? He's like,
that's where we're staying.
And I was like, oh, this place is sketchy, right? He was like, oh, man, it was rough.
So the hotel that he was staying at, y'all were all staying at the same hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, luckily, the rooms have been remodeled in the last, I'd say, 2 years.
Yeah.
And when we got in the lobby, they had done some remodel, but they just looked like they were, putting lipstick on a pig,
Yeah,
and then the hallways. We got off the elevator on our floor, and the hallway was like, I was like, oh my, this is going to be rough. When you could just, you could see it, smell it. The carpet was nasty.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And then we got to our room, and I was like, oh, this is not as bad. Yeah. But it was just.
Me and Ash stayed in one of those in New Orleans.
It was a Clarion. So come to find out, Pastor Dan said he talked to the lady at the counter, and she said when all of the people in the area through COVID were getting like their stimulus checks, people like moved out of their houses and moved into hotels, and she said they trashed it over the last 2 years. It's like,
wow, really?
So they've been trying to get them remodeled and stuff. They started with the rooms, and then they're working their way. They're going to do the hallways and stuff. They did the lobby, but I was like, that's unfortunate. I don't know why you would move into a hotel. I don't understand that, but that's what the lady said. But it was just rough.
Interesting.
Had I known, because we were trying to be cheap, like I didn't want to spend a fortune to go to this wedding. But we went to Nate's room at the Embassy Suites right downtown. Had I known our hotel was going to look like that for another $100 a night, I'd have paid it. I'd have swiped the card or something. It was much nicer of a place. But, it was fun. But it was just funny. Your parents were there too. So they were.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Enduring. Of course, your dad said he stayed in much worse. So.
Yeah. I'll bet.
So, but no. So they watched live the service Sunday. I did not catch it live.
Well,
so I'm being a bad Christian, I guess.
Shame on you.
I know. It's all right. We'll get it. So how'd it go? Let's talk through it.
It was good. We preached. We came. We worshiped. We preached.
Conquered.
We conquered. Hold on, let me pull up my stuff here.
I got it too.
Yeah. No, we talked about the next episode, and so the basic idea for the next episode was really stemming from this concept of like how a lot of people don't flip the switch between being single and being married.
Okay.
So like there's a big difference, and I opened up telling a story about how I was watching Netflix one time and I fell asleep on the couch, and when I woke up, it was obvious a lot had happened in the show, but I was like, oh wow, like that person's dead, or them two are together now, or like something. I was like, oh wow, like, and then I had to go back to the menu. I was like, oh, I missed 3 episodes, like being asleep or whatever. And I was not only in a different episode, I was in a different season, so I had transition seasons. And I was talking about how auto plays, and I was talking about how for a lot of people in life, we don't pay attention to the fact that things have to change when we go to the next episode, and how a lot of people are trying to live married. They're trying to live single while being married because they never understood the necessary change that it was going to take to go from being single to being married, and how so you have to be intentional about that. And so the whole, we were talking about marriage, we were just about being married and some of those things. And as we were talking about it, man, my phone is tripping. As we were talking about it, we were kind of giving helpful tips for what it looks like to be invested and have a better marriage, to live in the next episode. Kind of the way we phrase it was like decisions you're going to have to make to live in the next episode.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we did. And my phone won't pull up my notes, so that's cool. So,
what do you got, like an iPhone 8 over there?
No, I don't know if it's the interwebs.
It might be the interwebs.
Yeah, is yours down too?
Mine's being weird.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Now we're in trouble.
I have some
kept
stuff
it
up.
Should have kept it open.
Why it's working.
Justin's
Matthew
phone
20:28 was the scripture.
Yep. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve.
Yep. And to give his life as a ransom for many.
That's right.
And then point the I don't know if this was one of the points, but you have it. It was in the notes of you have fully bought in. Have you fully bought into living
beyond yourself? Right. Yeah. And so we were just talking about, and what the main point of that was helping people understand that though the conversation is about marriage right now, it's more about it's Christians who are married serve their spouse out of a Christian duty, not a duty of a spouse. And so we were talking about how your marriage should be a testimony of your faith in Christ. What your family says about you, and what your kids say about you, and how your friend circle talks, how they would describe how you treat your spouse should be an indicator of your Christian journey, because that's where you show up, right? And so we read through Ephesians 4, and we kind of unpacked that for a minute, and then we jumped into the decisions that we're going to have to make. And since you have them up, I'll let you read those. But the first decision we're going to have to make, we've decided to move from increasing me to investing in we. Yeah. So, it's like the idea that it's like me, my is like, but you're married now. Like, yeah, there is no you. Yeah, it's us. You got to invest in we now, and in us. And, I think not enough people do that. They're still trying to live their life. And it's like, well, now it's a group thing. It's like, it's a couple. We're doing this together. Yeah. And so just paying attention to those things are super important. But also understanding man, you have to be intentional to invest. One of the things we talk about on Sunday is, we're looking for God to bless something, but we're not putting everything we can into it.
That's good.
So it's like, God, I want you to bless my marriage. I'm not going to sacrifice for it, or carve out time for date nights, or you know what I mean? Or do intentional things for my spouse to show her, and in my case, show her how much I care about her. But I want you to bless it. It's like, well, that's, that's not how that works.
Yeah, good luck.
And I even said it in the sermon. I was like, nothing happens. You don't wake up one day 20 years from now and magically, unintentionally, and unconsciously have a great marriage. If you're going to have a good marriage, you're going to wake up every day and choose to have a great marriage and sacrifice and invest in it. and that's important, so, and for every point, every decision that we talked about, so we decided from,
to move increasing me to
investing in we, for each thing we've decided, we also kind of gave like a little pro tip, like here's something you can do to help with this. And so that one is
start how you want to finish.
And my dad, Pastor Dan, was really big on this. He kind of invested this into me in my marriage early on. And I'm grateful for him because, and just like every good father, I think, should, he's like, here's the things that I failed at as a husband, and I don't want you to fail at them too, which is, it's great. And so he was like, man, I remember he was talking about being in ministry in particular, so we're both in the same field. And he was talking about how being in ministry, there's always an emergency. So it's always like, man, I got to take care of this. And he was talking about how for like the first 10 years of his marriage, it was like he wasn't investing in the marriage because there was always something that came up. Like there's always an emergency. There's always a problem. There was always something that needed to be handled.
Right.
And so it was like, man, once we get to a season in our life or in our ministry where it's less chaotic, then we'll start doing date nights regularly. Then we'll start investing in each other. Then we'll start taking vacations. Then we'll start, and
that's just not how that works.
Right. Over time, you realize like that's not how, like
right.
You don't wake up one day, it's like, this season of life is slower. It's like, no, like there's always something going on. So if 10 years from now you want to be going on date nights once a week, then it's worth starting that way. Start how you want to finish, in other words. So if you want to finish investing in each other, if you want to finish going on date nights, if you want to then that's how you need to start. And so, yeah, he was really instrumental in helping me understand that process. So
I like what, I don't know in the context, I know it's about marriage, but Craig Rochelle, I just saw, maybe it was like on an Instagram clip or something, but he talks like a lot about marriage and things like that. And he's talking about like, things you should do, date nights and pray with your spouse every day. And he says, if you miss a day, don't miss two. Like talking about praying with your, I like that. Like if you miss a day, don't miss two.
Right.
Sometimes things come up or whatever, but like
right.
Don't.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
And then of course, there's also scripture with some of these. It's like we say every week.
Go listen to the message.
They get the whole picture of the message, but there's some scripture there, Ephesians 5:1, and some of Ephesians 5.
Yeah, it's mostly Ephesians 5 throughout that stuff.
Pops in there, so that's good.
Yep. So we decided to do that. Second one, we've decided
to move from conditional care to sacrificial love.
Man, this one's kind of a big one. And I think that I don't think enough people really pay attention to it, but how often the way we care for the people that we love is conditional and not sacrificial.
Yeah.
It's like when you meet my needs, when you're doing the things that I want, when you're doing things my way,
that's good.
Like when you're checking all these boxes, I'm going to show you that I care for you. But if you're not checking these boxes, it's like, man, conditional care is, A, it's exhausting because who can really live up to that standard? And B, it's like, that's not how Jesus showed up for us. Right. And it's not how we should be showing up for our spouse. It's sacrificial love, which is like, even when you don't check these boxes, I love you and I'm going to care for you. Like even when you don't do the dishes, or when you don't mow the grass, or even when you don't show me the affection, or give me the, whatever your love language is. Like even when you don't show up that way for a season of life, even if we're, whatever, like even if all of those things change, those are all just conditions, but our love for each other isn't based on conditions. It's based on sacrifice.
It's good.
Right. And so like we are giving sacrificial love to one another and not just conditional care. And that's a big one, man. Cause I feel like that's just like so prominent. Our culture, like, is just so like about us.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
and I think that's like, I think with marriage, cause I've been in it for a while now. I think with marriage is like a lot of times we get stuck on these 5 love languages, hey, if you're not doing this for me, then it's not going to work.
Right.
And it's like, well, I mean, yes, we should, try and, be whatever you need.
Sure.
But like being that all the time is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like we have to find some middle ground sometimes and compromise a little bit, but just always have that that sacrificial love towards each other, because if you don't, it just becomes this like betting game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Betting game? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's like, like I think we so rarely take into consideration. We give ourselves a lot of grace when we're having bad days, bad weeks, bad months,
Right.
or even like for some like bad years. Some people some of that through COVID was like
That was a rough one.
a very extended season. You know what I mean? It's like we give ourselves so much grace when we're going through bad days, weeks, months, years, whatever. But like when our spouse is going through it or a friend that's going through it, like we expect them to just like, hey, you need to turn that around, man. Like you need to. From a married concept, you need to step up. You need to, like, I know you're not feeling great, but, I need you to meet my love language or meet this standard or whatever. Check this box for me. And don't get me wrong, man. I think there is, I remember me and Ashley have gone through seasons of our marriage where, we had some hard conversations. She's like, hey, like, I do need this from you. Like, this is an area of my life that I need you to show up in. But I didn't love her less on the days where she didn't hit the mark.
Right, yeah.
And vice versa. She didn't love me less on the days that I didn't hit the mark. Like, so it's important that we communicate to our spouse what we need from them. It's just also important that we give them grace when they may not hit the mark the way we need them to.
Yeah.
Even if it's for an extended period of time. Because it's like, man, that's so hard. And I think another thing that goes along with that, it's had nothing to do with our notes, but I think another thing that goes along with that is, I think for spouses, don't be shocked and don't get an attitude when you have to repeat that again. Because it's like, well, we've talked about this, you should just remember it. And it's like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, nah. I definitely forgot that. Or it's just not my natural state of mind to be there. Like, so you're going to have to remind me of that. And, for spouses, like, I love Ashley more than anything, but she has to tell me the same things sometimes semi-frequently. And it's not that I don't care or don't love her. It's just I go back to loving her the way I want to be loved, not the way she needs to be loved. And she has to remind me, like, hey, I'm glad you're doing that, but I don't really care about that. I do care about this thing over here, though. So, like, can you? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my bad. Like, we go back to loving people the way we want to be loved and not the way they need to be loved.
Which is why the love languages are important to know.
Sure.
Because, if you feel like, now, and I'm not married, but just observationally.
Is this in your book?
It's in the book. But when your spouse, it's not that they're not like, to be like, I don't feel like they're showing me that they love me. It's like, maybe you got to also remember what their love language is, and they're just like you said, they're giving you, in their mind they are giving love, because so you do have to always stay on top of that, because it is different,
Yeah.
Like, I'm the world's worst gift giver, so it's like, you needed gifts from me.
I'm the world's worst gift giver to anybody except my wife, and it's only because I've had a lot of practice. Like,
I mean, you pretty much remodeled whatever you were remodeling over the weekend when she was out of town.
Over the weekend when she was out of town, yeah. Yeah, I'm still recouping from that, by the way. Seriously. Well, that's the thing. It's like, but even then, like, one of the things that she's had to learn, right, is like, if I am a big, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing person. Mm. So, like, I never swing for the fences. I swing for the stars. Like, it's in my DNA. I can't help it, So it's like, I'm going to, like, change them. So she knew I was doing a couple things at the house. For anyone that doesn't know, my wife went out of town Friday and Saturday with my sister and my nieces and one of the young ladies from my church. They went out of town. They have a favorite TV show, and they went to the filming locations and whatever. So while she was gone, I planned to redo the living room and the kitchen at our house and, like, change some of it. Well, she knew I was going to be doing it. She didn't know the extent that I was going to. So when she got back, she was like, holy smokes, and one of the things that she has acknowledged is, like, that the level of, I'll use the word, like, excellence and the extent that I went to to do this thing for her. Like, it's not just that I did something for her, but like the fact that I showed up and did it the way that I did it, and that I knew exactly what she wanted. Like,
Yeah,
all those things. Like, so there's more than just like, oh, you did a thing for me, but it's like, no, you've paid attention to the things that I've wanted and asked for, and blah 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 blah. So it's that
The
kind of
details.
stuff. It's the details. Yeah. So, so yeah, she's able to appreciate not just that I did something for her, but how I showed up in it, and the extent of swinging for the moon or whatever, aiming for the stars, whatever.
Yeah.
That I did for that, which, you know, whatever. So it was good.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think it's just, but yeah, I think you're right, John. It's just like, it's not conditioned. Like, some days, or sometimes you go through a season where it's just like, I can't show up the way you need me to show up all the time. And still, like, it's sacrificial love to continue to be in that space. And then just a reminder, like, to some people, like, well, I've already told them that I don't like that, or I need this, so I shouldn't have to tell them again. And it's like, honey, you got to tell them again. Like, you're going to have to tell them probably 4 times a year for the rest of your life. So you might as well just get used to that. Like, yeah. I mean, literally every time. So me and Ashley have a thing that we do where we go for a walk, and every time, it's like once a month. Lately, it's been a little less frequent than that, but we're getting back to like our patterns. So once a month when we're on a walk, it's like, I just ask her a question: how can I love you better? Like, how can I be better for you as a spouse?
Yeah.
What's bad is her answer is almost always the same.
That's, you know, after like the 3rd time of hearing it, it starts to like set off a little bit of like
it's very triggering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very triggering.
Just like, you can't react out of it. You got to like figure out.
Yeah, you
how
have to just receive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, you know, so I wouldn't say every time, like, she acknowledges, but she's like, it's not where she wishes it was. So it's still the same answer, you know? And so like, I'm like, okay, but like, am I getting better at it? She's like, oh no, you're way better at it. I just wish you were even better at it than you are. And I was like, okay, well, I'll receive that. You know what I mean? So it's just funny how
there are some things that, like, you know, you have to work on it. And she tells you like, hey, please work on this or whatever.
Yeah. But
like, it's that one thing that's going to make you the most uncomfortable to figure out. And like, it just like, there's an internal battle inside of you that you have to like wage this war. They have no idea.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll just change this thing. It's like,
That's
well,
funny.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, just looking into like a little bit of a marriage here.
Yeah.
Like 12 years in.
12 years in. You guys are 12 years in right now too?
Yeah.
Us too. John, you got married at like 12 though.
I did.
How old were you?
I was 19.
19.
She was
19. She was what?
18.
18.
Big mistake.
It's a rarity.
It is a rarity. Y'all probably will stay together forever.
Oh, you betcha.
I mean, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
So,
That's what we went in for.
yeah.
Yeah. So the pro tip that I had for that one,
Make the choice ahead of time.
make the choice ahead of time. And one of the things we talk about on Sunday is how a lot of times we don't, a lot of times we try to make the decision to be sacrificial and not conditional in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So when things aren't going well,
Right.
it's like, no, you got to choose that before you get to the argument, or before you get to the fight, or before you get to the moment where she's not or he's not meeting your need.
Right.
You got to make that decision ahead of time, because if you're trying to make the decision in the moment, that's not going to go well for you or them. So yeah. Next, we've decided
to move from commonality to communication.
commonality to communication. Essentially, what we were talking about on Sunday is, you know, when you first get together, you have so much to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about your friend circle and sex, and you're buying a new house and sex and and joining bank accounts and sex. And, you know, you get a new car,
High-fiving
maybe.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sex. No, when you first get married, it's not hard to stay connected.
Yeah.
Because that's just part of life. You know, it's like, it's new, it's fresh, it's fun, it's sexy. It's all of those things, you know? But then time goes by, and and like the newness has worn off, you know, it's like, not to say that, I mean, for some people they lose interest in sex and whatever, like that's not the case for every couple, but all that to say is like the newness, the commonality, the things that you have in common, that it used to be so easy to go on a date and laugh and talk. Now that's kind of gone away. Did you guys ever see the movie Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell?
Yeah,
I think I've seen it bits and pieces.
Okay.
Time.
The opening scene is hilarious. So it's like in a restaurant, and they're showing like people's feet under the table. It's like a fancy restaurant, so people's feet on the table, and it's like high heels and like dress shoes, and like the girl's high heels foot is like rubbing against the guy's leg, and like it goes and it bounces around, and then it like hones in on Steve Carell and whatever that girl's name is, and he's wearing like baggy khakis with some white New Balances, and she's wearing, I don't know, whatever shoes she's wearing. Yeah. But it's like, and like you all of a sudden can hear their conversation, and it's like, do you want dessert? She's like, I guess if you want dessert. And you could tell they just had nothing to talk about. You could tell that it was a very boring date. And it reminds me of that scene when we talk about this, because it's like, man, every married couple that's been married more than a few years knows what it's like to go on a date and get done with that date and be like, man, that kind of sucked. Not that the person was no good, but it's just like the conversation was stale. Like it almost kind of felt forced. Yeah. And it was like, we went on a date because we were supposed to go on a date, but we didn't like prepare for it. We didn't like, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like we did the thing we know we're supposed. It's kind of like how some people are with church attendance. But anyways, so but yeah, it was just kind of it is what it is. And so we were talking about how when your commonality, the things you have in common, as those decrease, your communication has to increase. You have to get better at talking and better at communicating and better at letting your partner or spouse into your mental space and becoming intentional and all those things. And so that's what basically we were talking about with that one. So
nice.
And communication.
I started intentionally not talking about some stuff with Savannah, just so I can build up some stuff to talk to her about whenever we do either go on a date or we're just sitting in bed, you know, after Theo falls asleep and like talking.
Whoa. Oh, okay, talking.
Yeah, just talking. You know, I mean, not in the same room.
Yeah.
With Theo whenever he's sleeping, because he usually sleeps. He falls asleep like with us. But yeah. So I mean, it helps, you know, not have the conversation be, oh, hey, what'd you do today? Oh, I did this.
Yeah.
And it's like that was the end of the conversation.
Right.
So you know, it does help. You know, I don't know if that's a tip for anybody that's been married for a while, but, you know, just like having a couple things in your head, not say anything for the week, and then talk to her about it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. No, it's good, man. And
keeps things from getting dry.
Yeah. And we put a blog out on social media. It's on our website, too. Yeah. There's some links in there about some conversation starters if anyone needs help with that. Something I use. I downloaded those, or I say downloaded. I did some research and got some links to some pages that are just conversation starters, like ways to ask questions and all that stuff. Which I think the tip for that one is like dreaming again, right?
Yeah, dream together again.
Dream together again. You know, it's like one of mine and Ashley's favorite thing to do is like talk about if we won $100 million, what would we do? You know what I mean? It's like she would start, 4 pit bull rescues or whatever.
Of course.
I would, we'd
that sounds like work.
Not to her. She would love it the rest of her life. That would be.
I would donate to an existing one, but I'm not going to start one.
No, she's going to start one.
No, that sounds like a job.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to do that.
Her dream is, if she won that much money, to start 4 pit bull rescues and then pay Carrie to run them all.
Why not just have Carrie?
I don't necessarily she means start it, but like buy the property and build the facility. Gotcha. I don't necessarily mean like replace Carrie's thing, but just she wants to create
rescue more dogs.
Yes,
essentially.
Yeah, we can have. Yeah, there's 600 beds at this dog rescue. Like the whole nine, and pay 2, 3, 5 staff members appropriately to really be able to care for these dogs. Like, that's her. She would, in a heartbeat. That's her. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I'd try to help all the humans that exist.
would you?
I would try to help some humans. I didn't necessarily mean all the humans.
Yeah, not all.
Some
not all
humans.
You can have all of them knocking on
A
your
lot
door.
of humans.
Yeah, you could help some humans.
Yeah, a lot of humans.
Townhome of
That's
yours.
big. That's life change money right there
It is. 100 million
for
is
a lot of people around you, not just you.
100 million. You do 100 million right, you don't have to spend the 100 million.
I mean, I would.
I mean, I would probably, I'd definitely spend. I'd spend about probably 20 of it. I told the Lord I'd tithe 50% if he'll let me win the lottery. Ashley said 50, and I was like, "No, we're not gonna win."
It ain't a tithe if
Yeah.
you get 50.
What's that?
It ain't a tithe if you get 50. It's an offering.
No. Yeah.
Hey, we'll take it.
Well, 100 million, 50 million. It's 50%.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
She was like, 50? Golly. He only asked for 10. I was like, "No, we're not gonna win."
more than a
yeah.
tithe.
No, that heart.
I would obviously would tithe.
Obviously,
I wouldn't, even though like this is my church that I even serve in, I would not give that much because there's only so much we can do with it too. I would
Nonsense.
well, you know what I'm saying. At
No,
some
but
point,
yeah.
some point,
Because we have like TCIG and stuff.
Oh, no, of
we
course.
could. It would
definitely
be different.
have
But a lot
people
of churches, you're right. Yeah. 100%.
but like too, and then like running in the nonprofit circle in locally, there's a
Yeah.
lot of good nonprofits, and obviously you don't. Each one doesn't need $1 million, but I mean, some of these $100,000 would go so far, and there's so
Absolutely.
many good organizations in our city. I would definitely spread the wealth around. Of course, I would tithe and do stuff at my church and all that stuff.
no,
too.
I get it.
All this building issues we're having and all that would be over with.
Yes.
But anyways,
just waiting on that.
we don't want to. We could fantasize about that all day.
Yep. Show good.
Where are we at next? We decided to move from spontaneity to intentionality.
Spontaneity to intentionality. Basically, the thing we talk about on Sunday is, some people have drew an equivalency between spontaneity and romance.
I'm not down with that.
Yeah, and they were like, what I told them on Sunday was, what another word for spontaneity is? Sporadic. So it's like, if you want to have a spontaneous love life, you're going to have a sporadic love life. If you have spontaneous romance, you're going to have sporadic romance. What you should have is intentional love life and intentional romance, and like being intentional, and whether that's conversations, whether that's, for some people, they need to plan their sex life. Married couples, like, that's you. Like, I know of
Sometimes you
couples
gotta
right
do what
now
you
that
gotta
like
do,
it is on their calendar, and if that's what you need to stay connected to your spouse, and you and your spouse know yourself well enough to do that, more on you, right? And it's not, that's not where everyone lives in there. You can have a healthy marriage and that not be something you have to do for your physical connection, right? But for some people, they know themselves well enough to say, "Hey, this matters enough that we put it on our calendar." Well, hey, whatever. That's what being intentional looks like for you. Good for you. For some people, it's just having some links in the document to make sure when you go on date night, you have something to talk about, or that you plan date night with a little bit more than, "What do you want?" "I don't know. What do you want?" And then you finally end up at Chili's or whatever. So, like, just being willing to do that.
No doubt.
I heard that.
So plan what's important.
Don't even need to elaborate on that.
Boom.
The last one.
We've decided to move from the past to the present.
Yep. It's just letting go of what's behind. Your hurt, your hang-ups, they failed you, you failed them. Best version of your marriage is in front of you if you choose to let it be. If you just keep talking about what's behind you, then the best version of your marriage is behind you.
It's good.
That's all it is.
Indeed.
So,
If you want to
That's
know
it.
more, I got a book coming out soon.
yeah. What is it?
Single and married.
Single man's guide to marriage.
Single Man's Guide to Marriage.
Can I write the foreword for it?
Sure.
Yes. Really looking
I
forward to this. I think we should.
I should-
really think you should do it.
should.
I think it would
I just we got to carve time. I guess be intentional
be
to write a parody book.
that would be amazing. Because you also have a second volume about parenting.
Yeah, the non-parent's guide to parenting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's gonna be the fun one.
That
The tagline's the what do they call it? The not the title, but the whatever the
subtitle. Or
subtitle is what you ought to do is. I know parents love to hear that.
Yeah.
What you ought to do is.
And then you can write a second one, and the subtitle for that would be "My kid would never."
Ah,
There you go.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Single man's guide to marriage and the non-parent's guide to parenting. You'd be able to buy them as a bundle.
Oh man,
That's funny.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
We should
yeah.
do some.
I
big
actually think the parenting may actually have better stuff in it than the marriage one.
Yeah.
We'll see. I
see
need
what
to lay
happens.
this bad boy out. Maybe it'll just be a download deal.
Digital download.
Digital
download.
Digital download only.
Yeah, getting a publisher may be tough. That's the.
I don't think so, man. I think
Getting
if
a
somebody
publisher
can get behind the
might
satire
be tough
concept,
We'll
that's-
see.
I've honestly seen worse,
Way worse.
books and they've been published and put
Absolutely.
on shelves.
Surely,
absolutely. I think it'd be hilarious.
it'll be funny.
Oh
So,
man, it'd be great. I really think you should do it.
Anyways,
I support it, 100%.
there we go.
Yeah.
So,
I want to make it mandatory. You carve out an hour of your week to start working on your books.
speaking of carving out hours, I heard we need to talk about something offline that I think we should do for the staff.
Oh, boy.
I saw. But y'all know Rob Deerdeck?
Yeah.
He's got a podcast. First of all, Rob Deerdeck, is that how you say it? Deerdeck, right?
Deerdick? Yeah,
Deerdick.
he's a genius.
He's got a whole lot going on, and now his time is spent. His company is called the Deerdeck Machine.
Mm-hmm.
They're all about like entrepreneurship and investing in other brands and
yeah.
companies and stuff like that.
It's almost like Gary V-esque.
Yeah, and he has a podcast. So I saw it on TikTok, but he's got clips on his TikTok channel of his podcast because it's like I guess there's a YouTube channel too, whatever. But anyways, he has guests on from different companies, and they talk about their company, and it's almost like apparently people go to his website and you can apply to be on the show, and then they ask all these questions, and he gets a little bit of that info, but he has you do like a rundown, like what is your business, what do you do, what are the pain points right now, what are you trying to accomplish, and like he gives his input to the guest on maybe take it to the next level. So it's kind of cool if you're like in the entrepreneurship type stuff. But the first like 10 or 15 minutes, he gives like this practical like tip of the day or whatever. And he was talking about how, and I've heard this about him before, but he was talking about tackling time. And he was talking about how he manages his time. And it was just, the one I listened to this morning was just really good about how when you come to terms with how important every hour is, and he was talking about maximizing and how he does his, why his calendar is important to him. And he doesn't allow, he works in time with the wife and the kids and all those things. But he's like, I got friends people I really care about that they come into town and they'll hit me up like, I'm in town. You want to grab dinner tonight? And he's like, my answer is no. He's like, I try to tell people like, if you're going to be in town, like you got to hit me like a month out, 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not, and he said, I like it like that. It's not that I don't want to be with them. He said, but I'm too intentional with what I'm doing because I'm trying to accomplish a lot of stuff, even with my family, but with what I'm doing, and that's how I like it. And I'll put
true,
you
man.
on there if I care about you, but this out of the blue stuff just doesn't work. And he was just kind of talking about how every hour matters. And he started.
You say that. Go ahead.
He started years ago getting up at 7. I guess when he was younger doing the skateboard thing, they slept,
Yeah.
But he's like, when I changed from getting up at 7 a.m. to 5 a.m., how that was a game changer.
Oh, 100%.
And he said that 2 hours, that 2 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Before your phone starts ringing, before the emails are rolling
Well, he's
in.
just like that's 14 hours more than the average person. And he was just talking about how much more work or whatever
Absolutely.
you can actually do.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, and he's like, not even work. Like some people love to work, but not even that. He's like, some people say things like, I want to start going to the gym, or I want to do yoga, or I want to start biking. Or he's like, you got to find time to do that. And he's like, if you're not taking control of your time, you won't find the time.
Yeah.
You have to make it.
absolutely
You're not going to find it. You have to make it.
Yeah. It's absolutely true.
And that
I saw
kind
a
of
little
stuff
piece
is
of that podcast. I didn't listen or watch the whole podcast, but I saw it on TikTok the other day.
Yeah, it's pretty. So I subscribed to his channel just this morning.
What channel?
And listen to it. It's called It's called. Hold on, everybody. Because some of y'all out there in podcast YouTube.
If you listen to this podcast, you might want to listen to another one. So
it's called Build with Rob. Rob Dudek's cool. He was always hilarious.
Rob's incredible.
He was always hilarious and kind of a go-getter, but you could really see, now that he's getting older too, you can see that he's really cares about like that kind of stuff.
Well, he's always been, building brands has always been important to him. And, he got behind Monster when it didn't have a lot going on. Ken Block, and he got on that machine. And then, he helped his cousin Drama start Young and Reckless.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. Yeah.
He got behind, he's been the machine behind a lot of brands. DC Shoes, if I remember correctly, DC was not doing well, and he bought in 30% and helped do a brand revitalization for them, and
that would make sense.
I think
it's also sponsored by him for the record, but
he was sponsored by them for a while. I think whenever he shifted from doing all this skateboard stuff, he definitely jumped into a lot of entrepreneurial stuff.
Big Black.
Before he passed away, R.I.P. Big Black.
Yeah. When Big Black had his clothing line and all that stuff, he got behind. He was the engine behind that. He's really helped. When you think about it, you don't think about it because he was always just the funny skateboarding guy doing crazy antics. But he really was
his
laying a business framework back then.
His whole show was his idea.
Yeah.
That was all him. It wasn't, everyone else came in on it and they were paid to be there, but he started it from the ground up. So it's he knows what he's doing.
It was just cool. His podcast's good. I recommend.
I'm gonna check it out.
And then hearing that thing about time was just cool because we constantly are talking about time management and
absolutely
getting better at those things. But especially I want to start.
And I've
got to get up and get into shape a little bit.
I got up with the boys today. I was up at 4:15 this morning, and I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that.
That's really early.
That's too early. For me, that would be too early. And I get up at 5:30.
It wasn't that long ago that I was staying up until 2 a.m. Now I'm trying to wake up at 4:15.
It's tough.
And I think the hard part for me is the way my current schedule doesn't make a lot of room for it. Going into September, because I have a big schedule shift coming this summer, and I think going into September, I may actually be able to start doing some 4:30 stuff. I think for me, it's going to have to be 5:30 for until this is pipeline.
Getting up at 5.
I'm here at church until 9:30 p.m.
Yeah,
Mondays and Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
There's just no way to slice that differently right now. So
and Sunday night usually pretty late because
Sunday nights we're at Coffee Guy till 9. Yeah, I'm getting home at 9:30, 9:45 on Sunday night. So it's just if
you're going to get up that early, you need to be in bed by 9.
Yeah.
For that to make, because you still have to get sleep.
Which they are. If you talk to guys like Anthony Ryan, I text Ryan, he's bro, what you doing? I text him at 7:30. He's hey, what you doing? You want to come over to the house? Kick it on the back porch, whatever, hang out. And he was bro, I'm going to bed in an hour. And I was oh yeah, I forgot you wake up at 4 o'clock.
And it's good because you need 7 hours. Sleep is important.
I'm good for 6.
You're not though. Long term, I don't think you are.
Maybe working out maybe a little more difficult for that.
I think 8's too long.
11 to 5 is usually for me, but 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. is usually pretty good for me. But nonetheless, it also doesn't help that I also started working out a little bit heavier lately. So I went to the gym and lifted with them. Then I came home and did a 1.5 miles with Ashley. So I'm also physical expenditures higher too. So
yeah.
But managing your time is important. It gives you the ability to make some of these decisions of the things that, what you're talking about. And that's super important.
Yeah.
So especially because it's we all have stuff we're trying to do and accomplish.
Well,
and goals
it all plays into the message and stuff with the spouse and making sure you're making time, you prioritize what's important, so.
Me and Ashley had 30 minutes together walking outside today.
And there's tools. At the end of the day, even if you use a Google Calendar, you can share that with your spouse. But even within, if you have an iPhone, if you're an Apple family, they have the native family calendar and family stuff, that's there. So, put the stuff on there, stuff like that. So prioritize what's important. All right, then. Well,
it's worth doing. It's worth planning.
That's it. Good times.
Well, Yeah, we got 1 week left for the series.
Boom.
So
The bee party come out this Sunday. It's really not going to be a party, but it's just a normal party. We're not having a party.
no, just regular Sunday for us, which is a party.
Yeah.
We have baptisms though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that'll be cool.
So
Yep. So, anyways, all right, cool.
well, Justin, if this podcast made someone think to themselves, I
Yes.
gotta have more.
Yep. TransformationChurch.com or on social, Instagram and Facebook at Transformation Pensacola,
Including YouTube.
including YouTube.
All right, guys. John, as always,
Half stack.
half stack.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Is that your sound now?
Yeesh. Yeesh.
What did I tell you about it?
All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you next week. God, I'm telling you, bro, I'm going down fast right now. We'll catch you guys next week for another week, another sermon, another follow-up podcast.
Later.
That's gum. So stupid. Little dinger thing or something. Click all those things.
I'm not even going to think about this.